Good morning, everyone. Happy week. Back from Vegas. Went to the Mob Museum, some other stuff. It was fun. All right, Amazon. Flash briefing. Let's see what we got going.
Jamie, getting your flash briefing. In NPR News.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Corva Coleman. President Biden is in Europe to attend this week's NATO summit in Lithuania. Today, he stopped in London for talks with British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, and NPR's Lauren Freyer reports Biden also went to Windsor Castle for a visit with King Charles.
This was not an official state visit.
Well, that would have been fun to see. Not
but it was
really.
still not without royal pomp. President Biden's helicopter landed on the grounds of Windsor Castle. He and King Charles inspected troops there together and then went inside the nearly 1,000-year-old castle for talks about climate change. This was their first meeting since Charles's coronation in May, but they've met many times before, including at a UN climate summit in Scotland 2 years ago and at Queen Elizabeth's funeral last year. Biden made a less than 24-hour stop in the UK on his way to a NATO summit that starts tomorrow
memory's
in
working good.
Lithuania. Lauren Freyer, NPR News, London.
New England is getting drenched by heavy rainfall. A woman drowned yesterday in northeast New York State. Now there are flash flood warnings up for Vermont. Vermont Public Radio's Nina Keck reports the governor has issued a state of emergency.
I'm looking at floodwaters right now rising rapidly, driving along Route 4, which is a major east-west corridor in Vermont.
Well, I learned to drive in Vermont.
Because road crews have been busy.
I can tell you it's got two seasons.
Towns like Ludlow,
Mud season
Weston,
and snow season. That's it. That's all it has.
Serious flooding already. And
so
the frightening part about
that's bad because it's either going to be black ice, frozen,
and the fact that rain is
or it's going to be just freaking
tomorrow.
avalanches of mud.
News, I'm 90%.
Not good.
Meanwhile, the problem in the southern and southwestern U.S. today is the heat. The National Weather Service has issued heat advisories and warnings from southern California to Florida. Stocks opened mixed this morning as investors await fresh data on inflation this week. NPR's Scott Horsley reports the Dow Jones Industrial Average rose about 200 points in early trading.
The Labor Department is set to report on consumer prices for June later this week. Forecasters think the annual inflation rate fell to just over 3% last month. But core inflation, which strips out volatile food and energy prices, is likely to be higher. China's consumer prices were flat last month as the world's second largest economy continues to slow. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen is back in Washington after a visit to China, where she met with her economic counterparts. The talks produced no big breakthroughs, but did help to reopen lines of communication between the two countries. Some of the nation's biggest banks are set to report earnings this week. We'll also get profit updates from Delta Airlines and PepsiCo. Scott Horsley, NPR News, Washington.
You're listening
We
to
thieved all the
NPR
people's money for tickets.
News.
Actually, now it used to be,
The head of the UN's
They keep
nuclear
all the money.
watchdog agency is on a trip to the Pacific.
and they can
He's
just issue a
presented
different
report
ticket
saying
at a
that
different
it is safe for
date.
Japan to release nuclear
But I heard
wastewater
they're
from the
starting to
defunct
issue
Fukushima power plant
refunds.
into the Pacific
I
Ocean.
don't know if it's true.
Ashley Westerman reports some scientists disagree.
The study released last week by the International Atomic Energy Agency found that releasing the over 100 million tons of wastewater would have, quote, negligible radiological impact to people and the environment. This week, the group's Director General, Rafael Grassi, met with officials in New Zealand, including Foreign Minister Nanaia Mahuta. Grassi's next stop is Rarotonga, the island where Pacific countries signed a 1985 treaty to keep the South Pacific nuclear-free. Approval to release the wastewater comes despite opposition from Japan's neighboring countries, as well as from nations throughout the Pacific, all of whom say the wastewater will threaten their livelihoods and relationship with the ocean. For NPR News, I'm Ashley Westerman in Manila.
An Oklahoma judge has thrown out a lawsuit seeking reparations for the Tulsa
Nobody
race
wants
massacre
wastewater
of
in their drinking
1921.
water or
Three
fishing water.
living survivors of the white mob attack on a black neighborhood in Tulsa
Dig a big
sought
hole and bury
justice.
it. They'd rather have
Hundreds of
that.
black residents were murdered in the attack, and the prosperous black business
Throw the hay
district
on
was
it.
destroyed. No victims
Cover up
were
the
ever
stench.
compensated. No
They
one
pile
was
it with
brought to
dirt.
justice.
Problem
The state
solved.
judge ruled that she dismissed the case based on arguments from the city of
Oh wait,
Tulsa
there's no hay
and
because you're getting rid
Oklahoma
of the
state
farmland.
agencies. I'm Cora Coleman, NPR News in Washington.
Hey, it's Aisha Harris from Pop Culture Happy Hour.
Amazon.
If you love and
Skip.
In NASA news, NASA is commemorating the first year of science and discoveries from the agency's James Webb Space Telescope, the largest, most powerful, and most complex space telescope ever built. To celebrate the anniversary, multiple events will take place online and live across the U.S. Media accreditation now is open for the launch of NASA's 7th rotational mission of a SpaceX Dragon Crew spacecraft and Falcon 9 rocket to the International Space Station. In weather. Currently, in Seattle it's 57 degrees Fahrenheit with cloudy skies. Today, you can expect intermittent clouds with a high of 70 degrees and a low of 55 degrees. From NASA. NASA is commemorating the first year of science and discoveries from the agency's James Webb Space Telescope, the largest, most powerful, and most complex space telescope ever built. To celebrate the anniversary, multiple events will take place online and live across the U.S. Media accreditation now is open for the launch of NASA's 7th rotational mission of a SpaceX Dragon Crew spacecraft and Falcon 9 rocket to the International Space Station. That's all for now.
Alright, sounds good. Amazon. Tell us a joke.
What's the maple tree's favorite Journey song? Don't Stop Beliefin'.
Why they have to be a maple tree? Doesn't that work with any tree? Have a wonderful, easy work week.